We're on it. Ready?
You're a minute late.
I'm a minute late. Do I have to sit on this? I don't want to sit on that. Well, how is everyone today? I'm informed that I was a minute late, so I'm very, very sorry for that. It's a good thing I have people to keep me in line, I suppose. But my name's Russell Love. Wait, am I supposed to advance this thing? Yeah, I think so. Oh, yep. See, there I am. So, like, I am the president of the Staff Advisory Council, and so I'd like to welcome everybody to the second think tank. Just real quickly, some of the things that the Staff Advisory Council has done. We do the Halloween door decorating in the fall. We got some upcoming events as well that we'll talk about in a moment. And we like to be the voice of the staff, so this is an opportunity to do that. But don't feel that this is the only time that you as a staff member can present an idea. If something strikes you, send an email to us at staffadvisorycouncil.com, and we would be happy to further discuss your ideas. So some upcoming events, as you'll see, we have Take Your Child to Work Day, which is going to be April 22nd, I believe, towards the end of the month. And so last year was a full day format. This year they're going to condense it down to a half a day. But we've got members of the council are doing a great job getting that put together. And an email should be coming out soon with additional information about that. So today's format is going to be very simple. We have 5 total presentations of some ideas, and we have comment cards. I don't know if everybody can see these, but they're at the table where you walked in and got your raffle ticket. So if you have a comment about a presentation or a question that maybe you didn't want to ask in here, but you certainly can ask questions. It's not a chance for you, ooh, I don't want to ask my questions. If you have one, ask it. We'll be happy to answer them for you. But also, if you have a question for the upcoming town hall, there's another town hall on Friday, March the 6th. And so the Staff Advisory Council is taking emails for that as well. So, or your questions, so you can email that to us, or you can write your question on the card and leave it in the TARDIS, the little police office box thing on the table up there. I'm not Doctor Who, but at least I know that's a TARDIS, so I guess that's some bonus points for me. So with that being said, I don't think I have anything else. Oh, yes, I do. There, you got tickets for a raffle, so we will draw those at the end. So one for the folks here, and then the folks that are watching on Zoom, we'll do that as well. And so those gift cards will come in an e-format from Wade. He's our gift card technology guru guy. That's certainly not me. I'm just a pretty face with the cheese stain on his shirt. So, but other than that, we'll just go ahead and get this started. So our first presenter is Wade Tripp.
Hello. My presentation is about de-siloing, which the faculty, staff, and students together can create a help desk to try and make sure that things go better. And it's designed to be a place to communicate where the faculty, staff, and students communicate and explain what happens, because I've seen it way too many times about, how do I do this? Why do we have this policy? And this is a place where they go to the Millsap foyer, sit down once a week for 2 hours, and talk about how things work and how to make things better. This is ways that, while the President's Store is open, it's designed to be a friendlier, less nervous place where you can say, would it be better to do it this way or that way? Or how can I assist with certain things? And it's designed so staff, faculty, students, when they're coming to and from lunch, can stop by the Millsap foyer. Some of the questions is, who do I go about? If someone's interested in work study, they can point to Melania. Someone has an idea about on the student tab, just have a place so they don't have to go further down to see what classes people are on from spring 1 and spring 2. All of it on one place. I'll take that stealing that idea from Ben Zebers, and just questions about how things work. And if they've got ideas, how to make it better. While there are many, many other places to go, the Academic Support Center, Human Resources, Faculty Senate, Staff Advisory Council, and the President's very open door policy, this is designed to do a slightly different approach. First off, it's to find and provide information. Some stuff, hey, it already exists, here it is. It can try and solve issues without making a major issue. And it helps unsilo Park University. Most of the time, and I am extremely guilty of this, is sit down in the data bank, get on the computer, get off for lunch and get back on 30 minutes later, and then finish my day. And this is designed so various people can come, talk, and help say, hey, here's a better way how to do this. I've gotten several calls, which I'm not the expert on, but I offer computer advice for nothing's wrong, but how to do things better. In terms of cost, it means people won't be at their desk as often. But that is because they are networking and trying to find better ways of doing things. And as a possibility for those who regularly go and attend, the Staff Advisory Council could see about paying for the lunch during that period for those who man the desk. And the benefit is to make ourselves a long, big family, the one family that the President keeps talking about, and it expands the knowledge. Too often we've got one person knows how to do it, and it's a black hole. If that person leaves, we juggle and try and assume we did it this way because of, and it's to improve life overall by getting the staff Advisory Council, Faculty Senate, and the Park Student Government Association to send people to help communicate ideas on how to make things better. And for those who are on Zoom, we'd also have for the remote campuses, they can send, submit, and connect through Zoom. And that's the basics.
All right, thanks, Wade. Next, we have Dr. Samaya Jones-Scott with the Pirate Fan Zones.
Good afternoon. Thank you. So I'm Samaya, and I'm a admissions counselor here at Park, and I'm excited to present the idea to the staff think tank, my idea of Pirate Fan Zones. This is a co-collaborative initiative of the athletics department. Thank you to Coach English and Tyler, and the admissions team. So thank you, Annalie and Jessica. So what comes to mind when you think about the TV screens all across campus? Is it something like this? Okay. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe they're not that boring. And of course, they do supply useful information. But what if they also live stream sporting events? Think about it. Okay, that was an exaggeration too. Or maybe not. So what are Pirate Fan Zones? In this presentation, I'm going to answer 3 questions. 1, what are Pirate Fan Zones? 2, how will staff benefit? And where and when can you watch? So what are Pirate Fan Zones? So there are going to be computer screens and TV screens across Parks campus, located in high visibility areas or high staff concentrated areas where staff are likely to watch Park sporting events. These TVs will be equipped with live streaming sporting for free. So how will staff benefit from this? One, fan zones will create an atmosphere of excitement because we all love sports and we all love our Pirates. Two, they'll provide staff members with another point of connection with our student body. I can't tell you all the times that students come and say, did you see me play? Did you see my game? Did you see my performance? And I wish that I could say, I caught a little bit of it on the live stream in the office. The next thing they'll do is they will allow staff to participate in the life of the campus in a way that we've otherwise been prevented. So in general, they'll just increase staff morale. So what about the data? So contemporary sports sociology theories argue that sports often serve as vehicles to unite groups, to help people form and solidify identity, and are a sense of pride in communities. In fact, 77% of staff agree that fan zones would help them feel more connected to Parks family and students. And 77% of staff say that they would watch live stream TV sporting events if they were free. So when can you watch? So thanks again to Coach English and Tyler and the athletics department. This spring, 2020, softball and baseball season will be our first opportunities. 2 games will be live streamed at noon in Thompson. What we need from you is your input about which 2 games you would like to see, what are our biggest rival games, which ones are you interested in. After that, we need you to come and support and watch the game and cheer on our Pirates. So what do we know? We know that 1, staff are excited about our sporting events. 2, we know that the athletics department is supporting fan zones. Again, big thank you to Coach English for collaborating with us on this initiative. So what do we need you to do? We need you to vote for this think tank idea, and we need you to watch those 2 live stream games this spring. Thank you for listening, and go Pirates.
All right, thank you. Next presentation is Green is the New Black, and John Bauer will be presenting.
All right, so green is the new black. I told the committee when we did our practice run, I was being cheeky when I made that title. I had to come up with something, and now I'm stuck with it. So we're gonna run with it. But green is the new black. What I want to talk to you about is something that everybody, doesn't matter what your job title is, race, color, creed, doesn't matter, stress. Everybody has stress in their lives. We have money stress, work stress. Driving in Kansas City gives me stress. Nowadays, we have Russian hacker stress. We have coronavirus stress. And what we know is that stress, if left unaddressed or addressed in an unhealthy way, can lead to some pretty severe mental and physical infirmities. And so what I'm promoting, or what I'm presenting today, is a holistic approach to managing stress and building communities. I think 2 important things. How are we going to do that? Into the mic? Thank you very much. So how are we going to do that? Through a community garden. Now, some of you will say, yep, right on, that's exactly what we need to do. And some of you will say, that's ridiculous. I've never heard of such a silly idea. But what you don't know is that there is a growing body of evidence, not just happenstance, not just hearsay, but empirical, demonstrable, measurable data that says as little as 30 minutes in nature, in a garden, can lead to dramatic mental and health outcomes. So I encourage you to search that out for yourself, but I've got kind of like a top 10 list. And what I want to do is draw your attention, starting at number 5 there, significantly reducing cortisol levels. Cortisol is that hormone, that stress hormone that we get to various levels and degrees. And again, if left unaddressed, it gets worse and can lead to things like anxiety, even to depression. But as little as 30 minutes in a garden, out in nature, some sun in your eyeballs, looking at some birds, looking at some bees, getting your hands in the dirt dramatically reduces cortisol levels. And that is good because it leads to some of those other things that many of us also suffer from, like stress, anxiety, depression. Those are all things that can be measurably increased by spending time in a garden. Let me point out that last one there that's intriguing to me, improving surgical outcomes. So it's been demonstrated that people recovering from injuries, including severe brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, that if they're in a room where they can see outside, they can see nature, their outcomes are better than those who are in the four white walls. Somebody who has access to get into nature, into a garden, improves even more. Somebody who has access to a horticultural therapy program has even better outcomes, surgical outcomes. Doesn't mean that it heals a spinal cord injury. It means the overall outcomes for those patients are dramatically improved. So what do we do? Where do we place this garden? Well, I've got the location picked out perfectly. Right here at the tennis courts. I mean, come on, only weirdos play tennis. We just kick them out of there and there's our spot. No, not really. Just teasing for you weirdo tennis players. Actually, what I'm doing, if you look closely at the picture, I'm directing your gaze through the chain link fence to the abandoned tennis courts directly behind it. Now, again, some of you are saying, John, that's ridiculous. How are we going to build a garden in this overgrown jungle? Here's the thing. You're seeing it for what it is instead of what it can become. It's Adam's favorite line. So what we have here is actually quite an impressive resource. It is 10,000 square feet fenced in with a 10-foot tall commercial grade chain link fence that is completely intact with an 8-foot drive-through gate. It's exactly what we need to keep deer out of the gardens and other marauding vandals who might come through. It's also in a great location. It's protected, it's sunny, but most of all, it has that fence right there. We have access to water. We have access to everything we need at the location other than the fact that it's an overgrown jungle. Here's another thing that you don't know. I've already secured, 95% secured. If it's approved here, then it's approved there. Local Boy Scout troop, one of its members, is going to use the clearing project for his Eagle Scout project. So that part's already taken care of, although if you're a real gardener, that's the fun part anyway, is reclaiming what's been lost and restoring it again. But imagine, if you would, what it can become. You might see it as a jungle. I see it as the Pirate Patch. I see it as our community garden. Again, not what it is, but what it can become. And so if you'll imagine with me for a minute, that location is cleared, all right? We have built these raised beds, and just doing some back of the napkin calculating, in 10,000 square feet, we could put in 70, 4-foot by 8-foot raised beds with room for a greenhouse or a hoop house, potting benches, compost bins, other storage. We've got room for chairs, benches, tables for people to come, if you're not necessarily working in the garden, but a place to come eat your lunch, have a meeting there. Adam and I have talked about, Adam Stone, our horticulturalist, we've talked about doing some lunch and learns there. But it could be a truly fabulous location here on the campus, and I'll address the other places, the other campuses here in a moment. But again, imagine with me and follow along. So it's a Monday morning, and it's a typical Monday morning, and you're running late, and traffic's horrible, and you have to sit through your boss's Monday morning meeting. Then you have to deal with your emotionally distraught coworkers. Then there's angry staff, and there's angry students, and the emails are piling up, and the phone calls are piling up, and your email is dragging, the internet's dragging, and then there's Jenzabar, but you make it. You make it to 12 o'clock. You make it to lunchtime. Why? Because you know what's going on in the garden, and you've prepared. You have for yourself in your lunchbox a little bit of fresh mozzarella, a little bit of your favorite olive oil. And you make your way down to the verdant Pirate Patch, and you find yourself some of those vine-ripened cherry tomatoes, and you pick some, the red ones, the yellow ones, the purple ones. You didn't even know there were purple ones, but obviously there are because you're right there harvesting them. And you step next door to some of the herb beds, and you pick some fresh Genovese basil, and you sit in one of those chairs, one of those benches with the sun in your eyeballs, listening to the birds, watching the bees and the butterflies, and you make in your lap right there in your container fresh caprese salad. That cortisol, which was bubbling out of your ears before you got there, is slowly, slowly slipping away. And as you finish up lunch, you're feeling great. You spend a little bit of time, maybe you tie up some tomatoes, maybe you pull some weeds and some beds over here. Maybe you say hi to some other folks who are there gardening. Don't make eye contact with the weirdo tennis players, just let them do their own thing. But at the end, you stop by one of those cut flower gardens and you pick yourself a bouquet of fresh flowers to take back to your desk. Put them in a vase on your desk, and I guarantee you'll be supercharged for the rest of the day. So I'm going to leave you with this. I still have a lot of information. Adam Stone and I are available by email and phone. We're in the directory. We're going to be here for question and answer. But I'm going to leave you with this. Give peas a chance. Throw your support behind green. Green is the new black, AKA the Pirate Patch, AKA the real Green New Deal, AKA the Garden of Eden. Thank you.
All right, now we welcome Wade back to the stage with his open house presentation.
Well, my two ideas are linked together because the first one was trying to come up with the ideas, and this is how to do things, open house. Because we need to move somewhat beyond the help desk. While the help desk run by Ed is amazing for doing stuff like passwords, reporting errors, how to fix the basic stuff beyond rebooting, they don't have much in the way for advanced features, such as creating a fillable PDF, walk through how to do a check request, improving a process, or getting the correct information. This is designed to make things work better here at PERC. A person wants to improve things, improve their skills or the situation. They send an email to get things done at perc.edu. That email isn't live yet. And it's maintained by Staff Advisory Council to get people in touch with those who want to do stuff and those who know how to do stuff. Each month, an open house will be arranged with face-to-face training or face-to-Zoom training, where people can ask questions back and forth on how to do things. Once they've done it, it can be saved and stored on Bridge so other people can come and say, hey, I wondered how to do something. They can say, look it up in Bridge, or if it isn't in Bridge, it lets us know what is needed. The idea is to learn and be better. These are a couple of instances where people have approached me and I haven't been able to fully assist them because I'm not the expert, no matter how much Russell says I am and everything. But the idea is that creating a mail merge, because if you're in admissions and you need to email a whole lot of students details, and it could be for different programs, such as you do not want to copy and paste, change, and do it for 50 different students. If you have it stored in an Excel document, just copy and do a mail merge and send it out to the 50 once. That would take a 3-hour job into around a 10-minute job. Power using data. We've got Cognos, which not enough people realize how powerful it is. And we can get it to also create stuff like pivot tables for getting reports done. And the idea is to increase efficiency. There's too many things we want to do, but we don't know where the demand is and how to do it better. But the idea is to spend more time doing stuff and then just saying, slip and copy, paste, copy, paste. And the idea is to share it. But this is not for doing some things, such as redoing an entire process, resetting passwords, a gripe session. We know about Zanzibar, I know. And also Fred Prior training. Fred Prior training is very nice, very useful, but sometimes you do not want to travel a full day out of the office and you're not sure if it'll work. With this type of training, it's only a morning or afternoon, and you can use actual park data, park infrastructure in order to figure out how to do it correctly. The cost and benefits is it's going to take time to organize and people are going to be out of the office. But the benefits is once they come back to the office, they can say, I don't need to spend an entire week working on a report. I can have it done that afternoon. And also it lets us know where people need help, because many times Park says, I'll just find some way how to do it. This tries to stop that and say, I want to try and do it better for everyone. And it learns about and finds Park weaknesses and improves them. And hopefully it'll be a useful idea, which I slightly prefer this one because I'm more introverted and this is something I can do and help.
Great, thank you. Next, Ken Austin is going to give us a presentation on benefits for using your virtual desktop.
Yeah, I can take this microphone out. I'm not one to stand behind these things when I talk. So a wise man once told me one time I should start everything with a joke, but I can't think of a very good joke other than you might be careful gardening so that you don't get any cross-pollination with the medical marijuana facility that's going to be in the building just west. Anyway, so we might want to be careful of that. How many of y'all are currently using your virtual desktop on a daily basis? Well, wow. Okay, so I've got a very small audience. Okay, so when we first rolled out virtual desktops to users, not a lot of them fully understood what we were doing, and what we really wanted was that we didn't mandate the use of them. So what I'm here to tell you about is to try and get you to, if you're not currently using your virtual desktop full-time in the morning to the end of the evening, I want to talk about some of the benefits if you do that. Clicker, I guess. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the availability of the virtual desktops with regards to not just here in Parkville, but the speed and performance that you gain from that, which has been a real benefit at the campus centers. Their security, we're able to secure them better. Scalability, if your resources are on low, and updating them. Okay, so available. They're anywhere you can get to the internet. You can actually get to your virtual desktop on your phone if you wanted to. It's not real handy there, but wherever you can get to the internet, you can get to that virtual desktop that you use at your desk here at Park. So if you're using it full time and you have icons on your desktop, you've got My Documents and that kind of stuff. If you have a computer at home with internet, you can get to your desktop. You can finish up anything that you need to get finished up. If you have to leave a little bit early one day and you need to finish something up a little bit later in the evening, keep that in mind. That's a benefit having that virtual desktop. So anywhere you have a browser and the internet, you can get to your virtual desktop. That's a real good reason to start using it. Speed. This has been a huge benefit to the campus centers because that virtual desktop is in the same facility out in Olathe as the servers are. So all you're doing is sending keystrokes, mouse clicks, and you're getting screen scrapes back. All that activity, those documents that are loading from FileNet and different activities within Gensbar, all is occurring out there. So your virtual desktop doesn't have to go very far to get the information that it needs. We do understand there are Zoom issues, and I'll explain those in just a second. If you notice here, we pulled up early this morning, we had 75 active connections. The average log on to the virtual desktop was 19 seconds. So for some of those of you that are at older machines and you're not using your virtual desktop, probably going and getting a cup of coffee while your computer reboots or boots up for the first time. That will go away as we begin to deploy new devices. Zoom does not work that well in the virtual world. And one of the reasons why is because since you're operating out in Olathe, when you go to do a Zoom meeting, you're going out the bandwidth, the limited bandwidth we have in Olathe, instead of the huge bandwidth we have here in Parkville. The devices that we're going to start deploying as early as next year are Google boxes or Chromebooks. They have a built-in browser, so you will actually use the browser in the Chromebook or Chromebox to do your Zoom meetings. That'll take care of the Zoom issue that some of you may be having with your virtual desktop. Security. All the units run in their own sandbox environment, totally separate from each other. So no one can jump across in between the different computers that are out there in this controlled environment. We can also do patching. Scalability. We're constantly monitoring this environment. We're not monitoring your physical machine. We're monitoring your virtual desktops. If we see a virtual desktop go red, where it's running out of memory, Stephen will typically proactively increase the memory on that unit if he needs to, if he sees us consistently. If you're having any issues with performance on your virtual desktop, please let us know. We'd like to take a look at it, because it's just a couple of mouse clicks to add memory or increase drive space to speed up that experience. So. And the last thing is the updates. We're able to push software updates, patches, anything like that very quickly to your virtual desktop, sometimes while you're even using it, but most of the time it's done at night. So any updates, you don't have to wait for someone to come to your machine to update software or anything like that. So it's getting updated, and soon with the upgrade of the FileNet system early this summer, we will start converting 32-bit Windows machines to 64-bit Windows machines only in the virtual environment. The hardware that we have right now that's going away only supports 32-bit. So with that, I'm finished.
All right, so that concludes the presentation portion. We'll now open it up to the Q&A. If our presenters want to come up and take a seat on stage, we can get that going.
Wait, you're an expert. Don't anybody say otherwise.
About the virtual desktop. So I spent about 3 or 4 weeks trying to. Can everybody hear me? Okay. All right. So I spent about 3 or 4 weeks trying to migrate myself over to the virtual desktop from my actual machine. I was met with a number of issues. As a success coach, I use a lot of different systems. And what I was finding is it was always something different. Some system wasn't working within the virtual, the virtual environment. And so I love the idea of being able to move totally over to the virtual environment. And I understand how that long-term in theory would work really well for cost effectiveness for the university, and I'd love to participate in that. But at this point, like I spent so much time trying to migrate over and only to constantly be in and out with IT to try and fix it. I just decided to go back because ultimately I need to do my job. So is this something that's going to be like, do I just have to like grin and bear it to try and transfer over? Or is that something that's going to be fixed with the upgrade to 64? Or
Have you worked with Steven yet? Right up here on your virtual.
no, not
He's
direct-
my virtual guru.
Not directly.
What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to work with Steven directly. And the reason why is he understands the product from a much more advanced level. And I do understand most of our technicians can support our applications in the virtual environment. But if you have some specialized stuff or some oddities, it always ends up getting escalated to Steven. So, I mean, yes, we are obviously constantly improving the product, and 64-bit can only be better than 32, but it doesn't sound like it's going to immediately address some of the issues you may be having. But I think we can take care of those. I think we can probably address the majority of those. So.
John, I love the gardening idea. I may be more familiar with most about the jungle that you're talking about. It's got like some 6-inch trees growing up through the concrete. It's covered in AstroTurf. I'm curious what the cost is going to be to build those boxes and to make them deep enough. You know, most of the gardens you showed were raised beds on dirt, so they had drainage and all the advantages of, but putting these on concrete, what's it going to take to actually get them up and running?
Okay, so we have been down there poking and prodding around. A lot of that AstroTurf is loose. That comes out with the removal of the trees and the branches and whatnot. That asphalt is so old that it's already pretty porous in there. It can come out easy. So a bit of this is an experiment. Can we go with a 12-inch, a 4x8 by 12 inch bed with that current crumbly asphalt? Does it drain well? We'll find out. So we see this as scalable. We'll start small, see if people are interested in it. If they are, then we grow and we grow and we grow. If we have trouble with the first 10 or 12 or 15 beds, again, what we have physically seen is taking out that asphalt because it's so old and crumbly will not be that big of a problem. Again, nice thing about it with that 8-foot drive-through gate, if it came down to it, we can get our Bobcat in there and we could peel that right off with the Bobcat. So actual cost of the beds, the great savings is that fence, which is about $10,000 worth of fence that we don't have to build. But again, just a quick calculation, building those with a medium grade, like Douglas fir 2x8 by 12, with good quality soil compost mix, $80 to $100 per raised bed. And that's the starting cost, which is recovered over time, cost per use goes down over time. That's just the first to get it started. Douglas fir isn't the best, but it's not as expensive as cedar. It's not as expensive as doing something like mortar set cinder blocks. There's all different kinds of ways to do that. So basically about $100 does the whole box, any kind of staking, the good quality soil compost mix, and tomato cages, the plants, anything that we would need. So about $100 a box for complete. Anything else? Wade. And then we have, since you brought that up, Adam and I don't get Adam started talking about it because you won't get away. He's very, very excited about it. But one of the things that we were talking about is ways to finance this. There are nonprofits in the Kansas City Metro whose goal is getting community gardens built, and they help out with expertise, which really Adam and I have covered. But they help out, low cost, experts of their own, low cost fruit trees, berry plants, starts, potatoes, all those kinds of things are available, as well as grants to get your community garden going. And then I had mentioned to Adam that when I was at Auburn, we had our agronomy club had a fundraiser every year where we grew and sold sweet corn. And it was a great fundraiser. And Adam said, well, we could do that too. We could grow and sell sweet corn. What would we sell it for? A Buccaneer. We're riding this pirate thing hard. So that's where we are.
Hello, I got some online questions for you guys. This is for John. Can we send some of the produce to the remote campus centers?
Okay, all right, so the program, can we send it? Probably not, but we do have an idea for how the campus centers can work this. They're all going to be a little bit different, and we don't know exactly what they look like, but one of the things that Adam has set up that we're going to set up right in front of Thompson is how to do this on a small scale seating, small scale production in pots. So you can basically get the same thing on a smaller scale. You have some seeding, and in big pots, you have some herbs in this pot, you have some cut flowers in this pot. You can do a salsa pot, you know, where you're growing some tomatoes, you're growing some chilies, you're growing some cilantro in the same pot. You can do that caprese salad pot with cherry tomatoes and basil, those kinds of things. So we actually have something that we're going to demonstrate on how it's done at one of the remote sites. And again, we're available for calls and emails, and you know, we're willing to help anybody get it along. Our biggest drawback was we just don't know what your site looks like. We know what we've got here.
Okay. I have another question for you. Where will the produce go from the garden? She has a couple questions in a row. I don't know if you want me to ask them at the same time or not.
Yep.
Okay. How big is the community, and could we seed swap from like Parkville to the campus centers and stuff?
Okay, so when we say community, we were talking about Park University community, you know, something for us, because again, building the community is one of the president's goal of, you know, growing the family. So when we say community, not a community garden as in anybody, but it's the folks here at Park University who benefit the most from it. The produce, yeah, so again, because it's a work in progress, you know, we have ideas of what we can do with it, but we're more than willing to sit down and discuss this with all of the involved parties. So we see it as, one, like I said, you come down at lunchtime and you throw together a salad right there on the spot. You make some caprese salad. You grab you know, when the spinach comes up, you grab some spinach to take home with you. Those kinds of things. We've got some ideas about, we do plan on doing some larger scale things once we get down the road, so we can grow watermelons and cantaloupes. You know, in the summertime, have a watermelon party where we just bring, you know, once those watermelons get harvested, we just bring, you know, hey, we send out the email message or the crew message or whatever and say, hey, watermelon party at the Pirate Patch, and you come down and you enjoy there. Seed swapping, again, I don't see any problem. I mean, I will personally be bringing things in from my garden. I know Adam will be doing that. Other people who already love gardening, we like swapping seeds and plants and whatnot. So all of that interconnectedness is good and part of it. So again, it's a little unfortunate that we have, it's not unfortunate that we have so many satellite offices. It's kind of unfortunate that we can't necessarily do this exact same thing at all those locations. But again, another part of the goal is maybe you can't get involved with this community garden, but there is more than likely something where you live, and we're going to encourage you to get involved with that. If the small scale kind of satisfies or doesn't satisfy your taste buds, then go and find a community garden in your community and get involved with that, because those same benefits are universal, not just something that's going to manifest itself here at Park.
I have another one. This is for the sports streaming idea. How about the Pirates versus the Buccaneers at Gilbert campus?
Okay, we'll put that, well, is that for softball? Which one, softball or baseball?
They didn't specify.
Okay, well, we'll put that in the hat and I'll duly note it.
Yeah, so that is a great question. I love that. If you do not know this, Park has a long history of food production on campus, including commercial ventures. So just real quick, I encourage you to go down to speak to Carolyn in the archive. She has some fantastic pictures of Park's agricultural past. I actually have some. I didn't have enough time to put them in my presentation. But, okay, so again, what we see is starting off small and scalable. It is scalable, starting off small, so it just doesn't turn out to be a ginormous flop right off the bat. So yes, in 10,000 square feet, again, just at that 70 raised bed, there's research that goes around that says a trained gardener can feed himself for a year on 16 square feet. That's a pretty spectacular gardener that could do that. Okay, but let's just use that as a number, okay? So a person can be fed for a year if it's a successful gardener on 16 square feet. Well, you've got 2 of those in one of our 4 by 8 foot raised beds. There are things that you can do to extend that growing period beyond just, you know, sort of regular dealing with the elements. All those raised beds can be turned into little mini hoop houses. So extending the growing season months beyond. So there's the potential to grow a ton of food, not a figurative ton, a literal ton of food in that tiny space with a committed group of people, because it will take a lot of time. But in addition to just the great benefit of you being able to go down and grab salad for the night, is that the Pirate Pantry has been a real push to help students with food insecurity. And I'm all for that. I donate to it. But here's the thing, that's processed food for the most part. Wouldn't it be great if that could be supplemented like a CSA, community supported agriculture, like we wouldn't charge them, but in a CSA, you buy a bag of groceries every month, or, you know, a produce from that farm for the month. So what if, in addition to just those plain old boring ramen noodles that you can get from the Pirate Patch, from the Pirate Pantry, that from the Pirate Patch, AKA the Garden of Eden, that we could also provide some baby bok choy, some scallions, some cilantro, a recipe card that says, hey, throw these things together, and you go from ramen to ramen. So used here on campus by those participating, used to supplement students. And then I don't know the legality part of us selling food off. I don't know that part, but I do know that with a committed group of people, 70 beds, greenhouses, you can produce a lot of food in a small amount of space. That's one of the great things about, you know, growing vertically instead of growing outwardly. So did I get your questions answered enough? Okay.
Per plot, are you going to allow people to have certain plots, or is it just going to be Park going to take care of, cultivate all the boxes, or will like clubs or any of them, you know, they kind of adopt a box where they could grow their own and maybe sell it for their club or something?
Okay, great question. So I'm not sure that Adam is going to share all that much. He's pretty excited about this whole thing. But again, I have what's going on, you know, we have what's going on in our head that it works out to be, and there's what it can potentially become. So you're kind of talking about an allotment style where, you know, 70 different people could have a box, or you could get 3 boxes, or whatever that number is. So that is an option. One drawback to that is, you know, if we are opening up to students, if we are opening up to faculty who aren't here, you know, year round, you get started in the spring and you go home to wherever you're going to, or you're off for the break. Well, then who takes care of that bed? I mean, it's not that it can't be done. It's just doing that allotment style might be more difficult than, say, we have a Pirate Patch committee where it's 5 or 6 or 7 of us who know what we're doing, and we can guide the planting to optimize, you know, the performance. Again, so we're being successful at it instead of, you know, Walmart will put out their tomato starts in March and everybody goes and buys them and they die. Well, that's on purpose. So you buy them in March and then you buy them at the end of March, and then you buy them at the beginning of April, and then you buy at the end of April, and maybe they make it at the end of April. So again, a group of us who know what we're doing, we can say we're going to plant this here, we can do succession planting, and then again, our sort of idea is we're communicating with the, with the Pirate Patch community and pushing out information, a Facebook group, again, whatever communication we're talking about, is we push out, hey, beds 1 through 10 are ready for harvest. And that's the lettuce in the, in the early spring. Hey, beds 15 through 17 need to be weeded today. Hey, we're gonna plant up the water, tomatoes and peppers are going in today. Come down at 3 o'clock, or, that's just the time. Come down. And I think at least in the beginning, a guided gardening process is gonna be more successful and get more people excited about it than sort of you just doing it on your own and you fail and everybody else looks awesome. You see Adam's patch and you're just all jealous, and then instead of being in community with Adam, you spray Roundup on his tomatoes when he's not looking. I don't want that to happen. Enough? Good answer? Okay.
All right, I got an online question. This is for the sports streaming. So are there any sporting events that happen in the evenings? Because most of the student traffic at the campus centers are during that evening time frame.
So currently we do have sporting events in the evening, but we're going to start with softball and baseball. So based on the support that we get and a number of other variables that I don't want to say the athletic department may be interested in doing evening sporting events live stream, but that's up to us, that's up to our community and how much we get behind it and how much we support.
Do we have any other questions in the audience? I think we put a final notice out there online. All right.
All right, well, thank you to our presenters and thank everybody for coming. So before we finish up here, remember, if you do have additional questions for any of the presenters about their topics or an idea of your own, or you have a question for the town hall, please stop at the table as you exit, fill out the card, put it in the little phone booth police TARDIS. Put it in the TARDIS. If you don't know what the TARDIS is when you get there, you'll know. And so we will draw for the people that are here. By the way, we had 30 people on Zoom watch, so thank you very much. That's outstanding participation. So we're thankful for the folks that hopped on to watch the presentations. So I'm going to have John pick so nobody thinks I'm yanking somebody out of there. All right, the anticipation's killing me. I can't even read. It's terrible. I can't read. Last name Lomas. That's what I can read. Somebody here? Who is that? I don't know. There it is. 150014. I told you. Didn't I say Lorraine was going to? That's hilarious. Okay, so Lorraine, we'll make sure that we. Oh, that's your last name. Ah, yeah. Okay, you got to work on your penmanship, Lorraine. That's not great. That's coming from a guy with awful handwriting. But anyway, and our campus center winner was Sabrina. So Sabrina won it for the folks watching via Zoom. So Wade will get the email with the $25 Amazon gift card in there. And again, thank you all for coming. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, put it on the card, put it in the TARDIS. Thank you very much.